Hi there, welcome to the latest episode of my 10-minute moan. The topic of this 10-minute moan is yet another example of how crackers the SNP are and the absolute nonsense they put on their website. Now, I've spoke about this before and other assets that they use to try and win votes, and some of the absolute bonkers things that they do and put online to try and attract votes. Now, this instance is just a belter, right? I can understand if you read this as a nationalist or as someone who maybe, is more open to listen and believing their nonsense, that you would take this as gospel and not consider what they're actually saying. Because when you consider what they're actually saying, it's total gumph, right? It's total nonsense. So what they're having a moan at here is the fact that the election debates are going to be Starmer versus Sunak, and how they're unhappy about it, and what the justification they used to be involved beggars belief, and is actually the complete opposite of how you should think being normal. So their headline in their new piece that they've put into their website just today is yesterday, I believe it was last night. Debate podium or not, voters know the SNP are the only ones offering change. Now let's just consider the headline itself. What they're saying, the SNP are the only ones offering change. Change where? We've got two parliaments in the United Kingdom that affect me, Westminster and Holyrood, and the only two parliaments the SNP sit in, or put candidates forward for, I should say. And they're saying that you should vote for them because they're the only ones that can offer change. Now, if we consider Westminster for a minute, that is controlled by Tories just now, and Sunak is the Prime Minister. The SNP can't change that at all. If every single of the 59 seats in Scotland were voted on by and returned SNP members of Parliament, you still have a landslide one way or another, right? If you're talking about Holyrood, then I 100% agree with you. Voting for SNP or not could make a massive change and offer change, but we ain't having an election in Holyrood. So your claim is absolutely bunkum, total bonkers. But then you're good at talking total bonkers. So let's have a wee look further into the piece. People often switch off politics, but when it's election time, they want to hear from party leaders. Fair comment. They want to know what their values are. They want to know who offers change and who offers more of the same. Broadcasters have a duty to hold leaders to account and to challenge them, this time for scrutiny with leaders in the spotlight. That's why the decision to ban Parliament's third party from the Leaders' TV debate is such a mistake. Two virtually identical leaders, Rishi Sunak and Keir Starmer, limp it close and all big issues will exchange damp blows. So let's just consider what they're saying there. They're raging. Now, this ban, I don't know how you ban somebody for a leaders' debate, but they believe they've been banned, right? They've just not been asked to take part in one which is looking at the two possible people who could be the Prime Minister in the United Kingdom on the 5th of July forward, right? You don't have anybody that could be potentially the next Prime Minister because it's mathematically impossible for you to do that, because you only compete in 59 out of the 650 seats available in Westminster. Even if you won them all, you would not return a Prime Minister. It is impossible, okay? And the reason that you've got 59 or 60, 59 seats is there are 650 seats in the Parliament for the United Kingdom. The reason for that is we try and put in, I think it's about 100,000 voters per constituency, and that figure should be the same throughout the length and breadth of the United Kingdom. So therefore, Scotland, because of the amount of people that have living here, will get about 8-9% of those constituents. That's how the thing works, right? So you have no chance because you only put candidates up, obviously, for the Scottish seats. These TV programmes are for the UK-wide audience. Why would you have any chance of influencing 90-odd% of those voters? They would not watch the programme if the SNP leader was put on a podium because they're not interested. They do not live here. If we were having a debate with just those available to vote for in Scotland, that might be a different thing, but it's not. This is a UK Westminster Parliament election, which you can't win. The SNP will never have a Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, let's be honest, all right? So that's why you're not there. Stop having this blame culture politics at every single turn. So, where are we? Both support Brexit. No, they don't. Nobody supports Brexit anymore because the Brexit referendum was done and dusted 8 years ago. We're out of the EU. There is no Brexit. Brexit isn't a thing anymore. Can we move on, please? We are out of Brexit. It's not open for debate. There is no referendum coming up to put us back in. There is no application in to join the EU. So why, oh why, do you spend all your time going on about Brexit? I'll tell you why. Because you need to. Because you can't talk about your own manifesto, because as yet we've not seen it. Both oppose free prescriptions. No, they don't. That's a complete lie. Free prescriptions are available throughout the whole of the United Kingdom. The rest of the United Kingdom used the exact same process that we opted out of, whereby people who cannot afford do not pay, and those who can pay. I would love that process to be back in Scotland because it would save our NHS hundreds of millions of pounds, if not billions, per year, which we could then use for our national health. It was a bribe, this free prescription fallacy. You didn't bring it out. I think it was Labour that initially brought it out years ago because you could get free prescriptions when I was a kid, so it's been out for a long time. All you done was widen the scope and made the free bit to everybody. Bankrupt the NHS. But the cost of that vanity project is frightening. And I wish we would scrap it and just give people who need free prescriptions, either people who their life depends on them or people who can't afford them. Society should look after these people. It's not a problem. But those who can afford them shouldn't have a problem paying for them because it's about £9. It would save us fortunes. Anyway, both oppose free tuition fees for students. Yep, they do. And what they also don't do is what you do, and that is cap the amount of their civilians who are able to go to university. The reason you've got a cap in Scotland and there is a cap on the amount of Scottish kids that can go to Scotland is we couldn't afford to send them all. We couldn't afford to fill our universities and colleges with Scottish kids because you've not got enough money to do that. So it's actually capped, although you're letting it free, and I think that's bonkers as well. Both are happy with huge bankers' bonuses. Neither want to bring the utilities back into public ownership. Now, imagine you saying that when you pawned about 80% of our offshore wind leases all in one go for the massively disappointing sum of 750 million, so that's gone, right? And you pawned them. Every single person that bought one is at a foreign company, and some of these foreign companies are actually foreign national companies. So we sold some of our wind turbine leases, right, to foreign governments. And you want to say neither want to bring utilities back to public ownership, neither do you. One of them, however, is actually advocating a British power company. But you'll not want that either because they're going to possibly look at investing into Scotland, and that would make people quite like them and not like you. So you'll not want to hear that. Both oppose an immediate ceasefire in Gaza. Total lie. There is not a single person in the world that opposes an immediate ceasefire in Gaza. It's just some people have got a completely lunatic way of achieving it, and other people have got a sensible way of achieving it. The lunatic way of achieving it that you want is for one of the sides in a war to lay down their arms and stop fighting. That's just daft. Sensible people have understood a very easy way to do it, and that is get the baddies that have got hostages. You know, Hamas, I don't mind saying they're baddies. I'm not saying Palestine, I'm saying Hamas. Baddies. They've got hostages. They took them on the 7th of October last year. They released the hostages, and if I had done that at any time up until now, the war finishes, because then there is no reason for Israel to be attacking Palestine and the West Bank, right? So nobody in the world opposes an immediate ceasefire in Gaza. That's just a lie. That's just a downright lie. Scan down. That's why we need the SNP there. We've seen how scared both Starmer and Sunak are at Prime Minister's questions. Wait to hear this punchline. When Stephen Flynn MP, the SNP leader, rises to his feet. Right? Imagine anybody being in a powerful position like the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom and going, oh no, there's that Stephen Flynn getting up. He's rising to his feet. Oh, what am I going to do? No Stephen Flynn. Oh no. Right? Nonsense. The man's bonkers. This is a Stephen Flynn that yesterday was on national TV, I think, and he proclaimed, but you get this, that despite all the evidence to suggest otherwise, the SNP are going to retain all their seats at the Westminster election and win some extra ones. That's Stephen Flynn. You've just written on your website that Keith Starmer and Rishi Sunak are scared of him when he rises to his feet. He attacks Tory chaos and Labour timidity. No, he doesn't. He gets up and talks absolute codswallop. The man's insane. No wonder Labour and Tories didn't want SNP voice on the TV debate. The other real challenge is their cosy consensus. But here's another thing, sorry, back to this Stephen Flynn thing. Your words. Stephen Flynn MP, the SNP leader. There's something that we didn't vote for. Stephen Flynn could be the SNP leader if he'd put himself up for election and sat in the Holyrood, because John Swinney did that and nobody contested it, and he's now the SNP leader. So you get two now. No, you're just talking nonsense now. You're trying to now justify Stephen. I actually think that'd be a great idea if Stephen Flynn was on a podium with these people, because the rest of the United Kingdom would be pissing themselves laughing at Scotland and the SNP. They're like, who's the crackpot? Who's this maniac we've never heard of before? Right? Because believe me, they don't tune into First Minister's question with Stephen Flynn. There's anybody sitting in Worcester going, Marjorie, can I have the remote, please? I'll need to put on First Minister's question. That outstanding politician from Scotland that's got no influence whatsoever in our life is just about to get up and ask some really cracking questions at First Minister's question. It doesn't happen. Right? They'll be like, who? Right? If you put him in a podium, national podium, Rishi Sunak and Keir Starmer, regardless of how competent or not they are as politicians, the rest of the UK would be laughing. Believe me, it's probably bet for the best that Stephen's not on TV with these people. Right? Anyway, I digress. This is a belter. Sunak and Starmer have another thing in common. They're both unpopular with the public. By contrast, polls show the new First Minister, John Swinney, is the most popular leader in the United Kingdom. That is technically true, right? John Swinney has got a -3 or a -8 popularity score. Minus, right? Sunak and Starmer's is actually worse than that, believe it or not. But John Swinney's is the worst. So that's not a lie. You're just being economical with the truth. You've spun this in a way that's completely forgot to tell us that John Swinney has got a minus. That means more people don't like him, don't trust him, than actually do like him or trust him. Okay? That's John Swinney. It's like comparing a shite and a jobby. Right? It's like, what's worse, a shite or a jobby? That's what you're comparing here. John Swinney, the First Minister, is the most popular leader in the UK. Come on. A moral leader offering real change of direction, not a shift of deck chairs on the UK Titanic. Excuse me? He's a continuity candidate for your party. He's changed nothing. He's actually got worse, if that's possible, than his two predecessors, because he's done nothing. Please somebody ask him what his views are on the de facto referendum that the Nationalists were promised 2 years ago with Nicola Sturgeon, and then we changed a wee bit by Yousaf, right? He changed the rules, but he was still having the same thing, go to Westminster election and it'll help us gain independence. So if I wanted independence as a nationalist, I'd be sitting going, hold on, we're a week into this election and that John Swinney's no told us how we're going to win independence via a Westminster election, because the last two told us, they just did a different spin on it. So that John Swinney, most popular leader. We've seen how Keir Starmer hates being challenged by independent voices in his own party. Imagine the SNP writing that. Think about what the band, what's his face? Winnie Ewings, Winnie Ewings, Fergus. He got banned for not on the party line weeks ago, right? You do it all the time. And Keir Starmer hates being challenged in voicing his own party. My God, the hypocrisy. Now it seems he bullied broadcasters. Here's a big allegation. He bullied broadcasters into excluding the challenge from SNP in televised debates. And to their shame, the broadcasters are giving in. That's a big claim, isn't it? If that actually happened, then we're in a bad situation. But that's a big allegation. Maybe the broadcasters just thought SNP, they're all cranks. And who would they send? The real leader or their kiddie on one? Right? If Sir Keir is this bullying and petulant in opposition, please, this is SNP we're talking about. They're calling somebody else a bully. Just imagine what it would be like in government with a huge arrogant majority. Arrogance in government. I remember about 4 weeks ago, Hums's last week, might have been his last First Minister's questions. Alex Cole-Hamilton asked him a perfectly simple and civil question. He got up, was dismissive, drew the eyes off him, and basically said to him, who do you think you are? You only talk for 4 SPs in this building. That's no verbatim, but that's the gist of what he was saying. That arrogance was not an arrogance through a majority. That was an arrogance after he'd binned the Greens and was actually in a minority government. And you SNP, are trying to hold Sir Keir Starmer, who may or may not, I don't know, be an arrogant majority. You were in an arrogant minority 3-4 weeks ago. Absolute petulance. That's why Scotland needs a strong independent voice to stand up for our country at Westminster. That voice shouldn't have been heard in the TV debates because Scotland needs the SNP and its MPs now more than ever. Full stop, end of. That last sentence was total shite. Scotland doesn't need the SNP and its MPs. The SNP need SNP MPs. Nobody else. Because you're near bankrupt. You need the short money that you get £1.2 million a year from. That stopped yesterday or the day before when they dissolved Parliament. That was finished. Right? Short money's off. You now need to get some people in to get short money going forward. And me personally, I hope you get hee-haw. But there's a fair chance you will get somewhere between 7 and 25 seats. Right? So that is probably where it's going to end up. You'll get a wee bit of pittance of the 1.2 million you get just now. It's a business that's lost £800,000 the last set of accounts and had between £40,000 and £60,000 in the bank. Stop feeding them. Stop giving them money. They'll be bankrupt. Thank you. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing. And most important thing of all, as long as you're not the SNP, John Swinney, or that Flynn, or any of the remaining cult they've got, everyone else, have a great day. Cheery bye now.